All right, the recording has started, and this is the April 16th, 2019 Crossplane community meeting. So the biggest news from recent events in the Crossplane community is that the v0.2 release is officially out and published and available for consumption by the community. That was that was good to get that release out, since that was the first official release since the the initial unveiling of the entire project and repository back in December. So there was a whole lot of great support and new resources and features, etc., that had been added since December, but had not been officially released yet. So we have you can see the full release notes on the GitHub releases page, and some of the interesting features I think that we included in here are support for resources like Postgres and Redis and object storage, and the initial implementation of the workload scheduler was included in this release as well, which starts giving you the flexibility and ability to influence, where in amongst all of your clouds and clusters workloads get scheduled to. We also wrote up a blog post about the release as well. So if you want to read, instead of the cut and dry release notes, if you want to read a little bit more friendly story with more pictures as well, you can check out the this blog post here on the crossplane.io blog. So great work to everybody in the community for implementing those features, working through a lot of the designs, and getting to our second official release. Definitely one thing that we want to improve for the next release is some of the automation in our build system and build server, etc., for the release process. We still have some gaps in our automation right now. So when we went through the release process, there were some manual steps that we needed to perform, which definitely can lead to potential errors and failures, etc. So working on the automation for publishing and promoting and tagging and all that sort of stuff for the next 0.3 release is definitely going to be a priority. So we have started then on the 0.3 milestone, and we have, I think that we probably need to do a pass through, some of the high level goals for the 0.3 release, which is focused on getting real world applications supported, and the main design partner and application that we have been working with for a while now and are really digging into deeply is GitLab. So in the 0.3 release, all the machinery and concepts and controllers, etc., to support complicated real world applications such as GitLab, and of course a type and controller and support for GitLab itself running across all the major cloud providers will be the biggest focus in 0.3. So in the 0.3 milestone here on the GitHub, we have a number of issues that are focused on that general theme of enabling real world applications. And so we could probably do a pass to make sure that all of these items here are in scope or relevant to the theme that we want to accomplish, and potentially pull in other issues as well that we might be missing that we need to deliver on this milestone's goals. So in addition to the 0.3 milestone, we actually have opened a project that's tracking GitLab specifically. So the work items that are scoped on getting GitLab itself up and running will be tracked on this project board, just as it's a major feature to get GitLab supported and running. So having a view of the status of items associated with that is available on this particular project board. All right. So yeah, so you know, we can take a pass through the issues associated with 0.3, but commenting on adding comments or discussing on Slack or whatever it may be, what are your preferences for issues in 0.3, what may be in scope or out of scope, or features that the community itself would like to see as well, are very welcome. So we can continue having discussions on what's in 0.3 and what the scope is and all that sort of stuff. So if nobody has any more items to discuss on milestones, in the release, the 0.2 release or upcoming 0.3, then we can move ahead on to the community topics. All right, so Daniel, you added a topic here on packets offered to contribute infrastructure.
Yep. So I just saw their response to this, and I didn't know if anyone had followed up with them. Seemed like they'd be a pretty cool kind of, they're sort of a cloud provider as well to get involved with this, sort of as another partner. I don't know if that might also involve adding support for Packet, just like AWS or GCP or something like that. But it'd be cool to take advantage of this offer for sure.
Yeah, so I'm heavily involved in the Rook project as well, and so as a CNCF project, you have access to Packet infrastructure to do like continuous integration testing and continuous deployment type of stuff. So I love what Packet has done in terms of making available their infrastructure for projects to utilize. So I'm actually coming from kind of catching up a little bit from being out of town this weekend, and I don't think I had seen this offer yet. So thank you for pointing this out, Daniel.
For sure.
I hadn't seen this yet, but yeah, I love what they're doing there. And then also there is a guy I've been working with recently down here in San Diego that runs a couple of technology meetups, and I'm going to be presenting on Crossplane in Los Angeles and then also here in San Diego as well in the next couple of weeks. And he I don't think he works for Packet, but he has maybe his consults with Packet. And, so we've been starting to talk a little bit about, so how we could use that infrastructure or those resources as well for this project. So it seems like, there's multiple angles here of getting involved with Packet and their infrastructure. One question to you guys is, does Packet have, are they really like an infrastructure only provider, or do they have a set of managed services like databases and caches and stuff as well that they provide for people for applications that they're hosting?
I think it's mainly just infrastructure. I know they have you can provision bare metal versus like more of a sort of like a EC2 offering, but I don't think they have like RDS or something similar, but I could look into that further.
Cool. Yeah, so if it's so I guess that's it makes sense for highlighting this particular part of the blog post there about on-premises deployments and supporting features that follow the Kubernetes operator pattern, like Rook does. And so like on bare metal there, being able to deploy operators and controllers that provide those set of managed services like the cloud providers do, like databases and object storage and things like that. So so that's cool that Packet directly said that. So yeah, we should definitely follow up on that and talk to them and kind of engage with them. I love that. I definitely like the outreach that Packet does for open source projects. Cool. Are there any other community topics that anybody wants to bring up here that were not added to the agenda items? All right. So Daniel, you opened this new pull request about supporting Azure resource groups, and this now includes the more recent patterns for Crossplane controllers. Is that right?
Yep. So the first iteration kind of drug on for a little while, and through that process, we kind of reshaped how we're designing controllers. And so it's basically just rewritten to kind of adhere to that standard. So I did put the work in progress prefix on there just because I'm still implementing a couple of the tests, but I wanted to go ahead and put up there just because we could go ahead and look over it and kind of see if it's adhering to the new structure and that sort of thing.
Awesome. That's great. That I definitely appreciate as the design practices and patterns in the repository have kind of been under a little bit of iteration as we're finding our footing here and finding what the right patterns are for all the controllers. I definitely appreciate you incorporating those best practices into your implementation as well, Daniel. So that's a good example to follow. I appreciate that.
Definitely.
And so you're working on the tests now, you said?
Yep. So I have a test for create that's functional. It kind of looks similar to how Nick did with the Azure Redis tests. So I basically just need to go in and implement them for sync, delete, and then for reconcile as well.
Got it. And it looks like there is like the CI failed for this. Is that something you already looked at, or did you need help with that to figure? Was it a like a platform issue, or was it like a test issue?
I'm not sure. When I went to details, gave me a 404. So.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I wonder if that's something that we need to add like, what's the word I'm looking for? Permissions for you to be able to see. I thought that we'd be able to see test results and stuff would have anonymous access, that you wouldn't need credentials for that. Ilya, do you happen to know about the Jenkins access?
Yeah, the anonymous user should be able to see the results. Let me try it out right now in incognito mode.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to be signing into GitHub with your account, but beyond that, you should be able to. It has to be an authorized GitHub user, but will allow anonymous access.
I am signed in right now, and I'm still getting 404, but that could be an error on my end. I'm not sure.
You getting 404 from Jenkins? What is the
yes.
URL? Can maybe we can take it offline. You can post it to me, the URL. I can take a look at it.
Definitely.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds great then, guys. And I guess in the Crossplane Slack, we can, in the dev channel, that sounds like a good place to talk about that. So yeah, we could definitely help you get access to the Jenkins instance, Daniel, so you can see what the issue is and be able to troubleshoot.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks.
Awesome. Alrighty, and then I also just opened a pull request as well, a design pull request. So we have an issue here, 375, where the general concept here is that we want to be able to, in Crossplane, to be able to support adding additional functionality, extend Crossplane with new types and resources that were not built necessarily inside the Crossplane source tree. So this is our extensibility story for Crossplane, essentially. And so this pull request here, 397, is a work in progress for sure. Attempt here at kind of describing what the functionality that we need to support is in the extensions concept, and what some of the mechanisms are, and some new types and controllers, etc. So this is kind of a sketch one-pager for what we need to be able to add support for out-of-tree extensions in Crossplane. So this is open and available for the review and design discussion from the community. It is a work in progress pull request, so it's a little bit rough right now and has some questions here that are unanswered right now. But any feedback or thoughts on this proposal here are open to the community, and help us kind of iterate over this and drive a design that will work well for everyone to be able to support this new type of extension functionality. All right, so that is all that I had on the agenda document for today. Is there any other discussion topic or item that anybody wants to bring up right now? If not, then we could adjourn early today and get back 40 minutes of our working Tuesday mornings. All right, so it sounds like we've got all our topics discussed here, and we'll have another community meeting in 2 weeks from now, and we will continue executing on the 0.3 milestone, and with a big focus on adding support for GitLab, specifically running across all 3 cloud providers. All right, thanks everybody for joining in today.